So again, welcome to this very large crowd here. I'm actually very pleased to see that many faces, people interested in SILA. Now, I will use the next 15 minutes or so for an update on SILA 2, the standard SILA 2, and its technical developments. Maybe we have room for one or two questions, but we have to, I think, very strictly stick to the time I heard. Okay, so the first update I wanted to share is definitely about the standard itself. We're very proud to soon release SILA 2 version 1.1. Actually, you can already use SILA 2 version 1.1 as of now. It's just the last formal ballot step that is missing. Now, what is SILA 2 version 1.1 bringing to you? I think the most important change is what we call cloud connectivity support. Now, you might ask, why is there a need for a cloud connectivity support, or why is there a need for a cloud native approach? Just one sec, I think I need to mute a few of you because there is some background noises. So you all probably know that usually SILA is used to connect systems in a lab, instruments or systems like LIMS systems or electronic lab journals, etc. Very often these systems do live in isolated lab networks, and you somehow need to be able to escape into the corporate network to maybe move data or to control instruments from out of the corporate network, instruments who are actually in an isolated lab network. So this is definitely one use case for the cloud connectivity, even though it doesn't seem like cloud, but still in the end, it's just for connecting actually instruments or systems across network barriers or across networks that otherwise would not be reachable. And of course, you can also imagine use cases like you do have a client that you want to use to control your instrument service in a lab, but your client, being it a LIMS or an ELN, is actually sitting in the cloud because it's a public cloud application. And so you need to be able to kind of make that, make your way from the cloud system into your lab. And conventionally or classically, you had to open ports and stuff in your firewall. And the SILA cloud connectivity actually doesn't make use of this usually very complex type of configuration, because maybe not the configuration itself is complex, but to get in a large enterprise to get actually allowance to do such type of configuration might be very tedious or even impossible to get. Now, how does SILA 2 do that? In the end, it is just reversing basically the roles of the responsible party who is actually initiating or opening the technical connection. So instead of actually the LIMS, cloud LIMS, trying to connect to the instrument, which is impossible through the firewalls, it's actually the instrument or a managing device, we will hear of that just in a minute, who actually opens up the channel, but then afterwards the LIMS is actually using that secure managed channel. And I think that's the great thing. This is not rocket science from a technical perspective, but it's, I think, as far as I know, the first time where there is a standardized approach to do exactly that. I mean, there are many home IT instruments that do the same thing, but in a proprietary, non-standardized way. And I think that's the great thing about the SILA cloud connectivity, that now works in a standardized way, and still all the security measures, all the authentication, authorization feature and everything that was in SILA 2 already, of course, is still there. So I think it's quite a cool way of making cloud connectivity in a managed, secure and safe way. Now, this actually brings me to the next topic, which is the so-called SILA 2 Edge Gateway. And for those of you who had been here before 3 o'clock, or at least European time, you heard when Mike was introducing himself, he was mentioning SILA 2 Edge Gateway, which actually is in the end nothing else than a SILA server and a SILA client. Technically, you see it here in the middle. It's actually a combination of SILA server and client, but it basically allows you two things. First of all your existing SILA 2 servers that are not yet SILA 2.1 but SILA 2.10 can be made cloud capable through that gateway. But over that, or more than that, the SILA 2 Edge Gateway actually allows you to monitor and control the connection, monitor and control who's actually talking to your cloud, what data is flowing back and forth, are there errors, are the connections actually up and running, etc. This is what the SILA Edge Gateway is actually doing. And currently, the SILA 2 Edge Gateway is actually developed in the community under the guidance of Siobra. And this will allow cloud clients then actually to do exactly what I have been describing on slide just before. And I guess that's a great component that, especially for larger entities, enterprises, will be, I think, quite important, as usually your global IT in such company, the global IT usually wants to know what connections exist to the outside, and the SILA 2 Edge Gateway is actually a great tool to make these connections transparent, manageable, and visible. But in addition, also all the already existing SILA 2 servers are just with that SILA 2 gateway readily made available to the cloud. And I think that's another great benefit of the SILA 2 Edge Gateway. So feel free to go to GitLab, the SILA 2 group, check the developments, how the developments are going on. This development has just started, and you find some publicly visible things already, and more will be made available. And of course, also we'll also talk about that on our news channels. Next thing, where I think is a very fine thing currently going on, is under the code name SILA 2 Universal SILA Client. So what is this? Maybe you have heard about the SILA browser before, or you used the SILA browser. Now the SILA community and the SILA board of directors decided to actually create a new universal SILA client that is not only like the SILA browser, that is not only free, but that is also open source and developed publicly in an open source community. You can follow the development again on that GitLab link. And down here you see just a mock-up of it. There are a few mock-ups there. And the goal is really to have something like the great SILA browser out there, publicly available, extensible, that others can also use even as a framework or as a platform to do their own developments. And something that really fully supports all SILA 2 release 1.1 features in one. And also an additional requirement that actually the SILA board stated was that the SILA 2 universal client must be able to run by people who are not IT experts. So it basically must be run by just clicking somewhere and downloading it once maybe, or just starting it directly from the web. There will also be, by the way, there will be an officially hosted Universal SILA client that you will also be able to use for your tests, etc., to maybe test out the cloud connectivity, etc. And I think it's a great tool, for creating SILA actually, or making SILA accessible very easily, but also I think it's a great tool for even vendors of software or hardware products who want to not only test, but maybe also base their products on this platform. It will be an extensible platform with plugin capabilities, etc., etc. Again, here, as for everything, if you want to join somehow, if you want to contribute and see what's going on, GitLab is your place, or of course also the SILA community itself, where you're of course very much invited to help, to contribute, etc. And this is maybe again a good keyword for my next slide, we actually do see a very, very active community over the past couple of months. It's actually really great to see things happening. What you do see on the left side is just a list of repositories that are available on GitLab, holding reference implementations in different languages, or here the Sila box, basically a Sila converter type of project. You see the Edge Gateway. There is various programming languages that Sila officially supports, but of course there is more code repositories that are not under the Sila official GitLab repository, because I mean everybody can implement Sila as he or she wants, and so there is many more repositories, and I will come to that in a minute. What I found personally really nice is that just recently, people around Lab Forward, I think, whom we also hear a talk to today, and Thermo Fisher actually started a JavaScript reference implementation, which I believe is a great thing. So we could actually support great platforms such as Node.js, etc., which are used a lot for web developments, etc. I think this just opens up a whole new world again. And I think personally also the community is really what makes Sila great in the end. I just wanted to share one thing here, which you basically see down here. There is a link to Sila 2 adoptions and implementations. So this is all the community implementations that from people that are not necessarily Sila members, hence they are not allowed to put their products on the official Sila store, on the official Sila website. Still, there is a list of Sila 2 adoptions implementations that are accessible publicly for everybody, and everybody can also add things to this list. I think the slides and stuff will after be shared, so you can also get the link there. But you also find the link to Sila 2 adoptions and implementations in the Sila standard on the official Sila website. But I just wanted to show you a glance into this document. So this is how the document looks like. And what you see here is a tool which was created by Florian Bauer, an individual who just decided to create a Sila orchestrator application that allows you to execute simple workflows. Then there is other great tools from TU Munich, from Lukas Bromik, a tool called the Sila 2 Manager. It's also in this list here, which allows you to orchestrate Sila service as well. And this is exactly, I think, what the community actually needs. The community needs people who contribute open source or also commercial products that really make Sila accessible and make Sila adoptable. Sila will only be great if people are actually using it and adopting it, right? Again, as a summary here, the link to this Sila community. And I just have to end my session, so not to exceed my time here too much. Again, a few maybe interesting links for you. If you're interested in the Sila 2 reference implementations, go to GitLab Sila 2. There is also a wiki documentation, let's say, base that you find on the Sila 2 GitLab IO, Sila base. From there, you do find links to the Slack community where you can join and get answers very fast. From there, you can actually find the standard documents, the latest released standards. You find the links to the repositories. You find the link to your YouTube channel, which has some great videos, especially in the Python area. We're working on additional videos for other reference implementations in C#, in Java, that will be put on YouTube quite soon. So just to make Sila really, really accessible. I think with that, I'm already at the end. And I don't know, Patrick, whether we do take 1 or 2 questions now or whether we just continue and to take the questions in the chat.